You're listening to Glove Up or Shut Up on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
You're listening to Glove Up or Shut Up on AngryMarks.com with Peter H. and Stevie J. Find them on Twitter at HardcoreCDN and at AngryMarks. And now, for all the news, reviews, and interviews in mixed martial arts, it's time for Glove Up or Shut Up from AngryMarks.com.
And welcome everybody to another episode of Glove Up or Shut Up right here at AngryMarks.com. My name is Peter H. I'm joined once again by my co-host from Omaha, Nebraska, Stevie J.
Not from Lincoln, Nebraska.
No, it's about a 45-minute drive?
Yeah, give or take as the crow flies.
Crow flies. Welcome to NPR, folks. Oh boy. Okay, well, we had a big UFC fight night in Lincoln, Nebraska, UFC Fight Night 135, and we have a little bit of news to discuss as well. Next week's show, we're going to preview the next UFC big card there with Darren Till, and that will be an interesting card. We'll talk about that one next week. But Stevie, let's talk about this show in Lincoln. Do you want to start with the main, or do you want to start with the prelims?
I think we should start with the main event because it is, after all, what people came to see. And as Justin Gaethje said in his post-fight interview, tonight, I was a man of my word.
Well, he fought James Vick. Vick was a replacement fight. It wasn't like a last-minute replacement, but
no, Ali Kita had been knocked out of this fight for many weeks.
Yeah, this wasn't a short term, but Vick stepped up. You got to give him props for that. And he lasted a minute 27.
Yeah. It turned into a firefight, and Vick did clip him pretty good a couple times, but he didn't win the war.
It was a good back and forth for about the first minute, and then Gaethje caught him with this hammer, and it was one of the scariest lights-out knockouts because Vick's eyes were still open when he hit the mat, and it was reminiscent of knockouts from the past where they showed the winner. They didn't show the guy laying on the mat for quite a while because he was thinking it was Tuesday.
I don't think that was the scariest thing. I think the scariest thing was that when he came to and didn't know that he'd been knocked out, he tried to get through the doctors and referees and shoot for a single leg.
Yeah, to say his brains were scrambled is an understatement.
Oh, yeah. So he better get a 90-day medical suspension. I don't know if he did or not, but he needs to sit out for a while.
Yeah, it's not a quick turnaround for Vick, but Gaethje, boy, you could definitely make the case to have him fight again this year.
Absolutely. Took no, lasting damage, I would say. Obviously, like I said, he got in a firefight and got clipped a few times, but when you walk away from it with the other guy laying down on the canvas and you standing victorious, you can probably take a fight again in a relatively soon amount of time. Not maybe as soon as Donald Cerrone likes to do, but not too long.
No, and Gaethje takes the main event win here. I would see him either in a main or co-main or even on a very stacked card. With the right opponent, you could put him third from the top.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of things he takes, a $50,000 performance of the night bonus is something he takes as well.
I'll take that to the bank, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Andre Fili and Michael Johnson, this fight, entertaining.
Super close.
29-28, 29-28, and 27-30. What fight was this judge watching?
Well, you should say it was 30-27 for Fili and 29-28 times 2 for Johnson.
Yes, that's what I meant to say. Fili was upset by the win, by the loss.
He wouldn't have been upset by the win.
Because he thought he was winning, and when he didn't get his hand raised, it was like a look of shock. And I always say never leave it to the judges, but Bud, you have to win more than one round if you want to win this fight. He didn't win 2, and you sure as hell didn't win 3.
No, the problem was, like I said, it was a very close fight, and for him to get 2 out of 3 rounds, he would have needed to win 2 decisively, and there was only 1 round that he even won close, let alone decisively.
when the judges go 29-28 Johnson, 30-27 for Feely, I'm like, uh-oh, this is not good. And 29-28, I'm like, okay, this better be Johnson. Okay, it was good, thank God, because I'm not sure which judge did the 30-27 for Feely, but maybe check his credentials next time.
Well, wait a minute. When you said, oh God, this isn't good, how can you have even been shocked by that? Because the fight you just watched before that was also a split decision.
It was, I had Casey win 2 out of 3 rounds. So when they do 29-28 and 28-29, it's like, okay, I could see Casey winning 2 of the 3. When they announced the third score was 30-27, I knew Casey had it. Cause Hill and Feely did not win all 3 rounds in their fight. There's no way.
Mm-hmm. In each fight, I can see one round going the way of the person who did not get the scorecards.
Yeah.
But not 2, and definitely not 3.
No. Brian Barberena beat Jake Ellenberger into retirement in the first round at 226.
Yep. And he took his gloves off and said, thank you, Nebraska. You were here with me at the start, and you're here with me at the end.
He apparently made that decision to retire the day of the fight.
I kind of feel like based on that fight, if he hadn't, he should have anyway, because just a few years ago, this is a guy that Ellenberger would have defeated handily, if not just outright knocked out. And to be on the losing end of this fight at this point in his career suggests to me that his heart is not in it, and or that he's been knocked out a few too many times. So I believe this would have been inevitable whether he had made up his mind to do it that day or not.
I forgot that he beat his brother too.
Brian Barberena, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I when they showed the highlight, like the promo pack before the fight, I was like, oh yeah, he got the other Ellenberger too.
Uh-huh.
It's something it's when you watch so many fights that kind of blur together. I've said that on this show before, but I'm kind of sad Ellenberger's retired, but I mean, you're right. This performance, it showed that I think he'd be a good coach.
Right, but unfortunately to be like a coach on The Ultimate Fighter, like get a star role like that, you would actually need to be in a much higher profile position. Now, if you mean like a coach on somebody's team, he's already that.
Yeah, or he could open his own gym.
That's more or less a fact of life if you live here. The Ellenbergers are well established in this community.
Well, let's move on to John Morega and Devison Figueiredo.
Close enough.
Morega got beat here in the second round. I've been struggling with this fight, to be honest, all week since the show. I'm not sure if Morega got exposed or if he just got caught. I'm
gonna lean towards getting.
Hard to say.
I mean, look at his 3 previous fights with Ashkan Mokhtarian, Magomed Bibulatov, and Wilson Hayes. That's 3 badass dudes. So you can't tell me that he's not a top-level fighter. It's just, like you said, he got caught.
Yeah, even the best fighters get caught from time to time, but I wouldn't sleep on the guy who won. Like, he's impressive. Now, there's another guy in the prelims. We were chatting during the fights. Another guy impressed me as well. We'll get there, and I know, you know what I'm talking about.
I do, but we have to talk about the 5th latest knockout in middleweight division history, which I find to be both an interesting and a completely useless statistic.
Well, Anders with a head kick at 4:42 of the third round was, I'm impressed he was able to pull that out, like in the bag of tricks he has, to pull that out with less than 20 seconds after having 2 tough rounds.
Oh yeah,
good
in one of those rounds he was very close to being knocked out himself. Tim Williams caught him good.
No, he caught Tim Williams good.
Well, he caught Tim Williams good in the end.
Yeah.
But I'm saying earlier on in the fight, Williams had significantly busted him up.
Oh yeah, it was a good back and forth. This is a fight. If you have Fight Pass, when this fight is there, check it out.
Yeah, in fact, this got a Performance of the Night bonus for Eric Anders, if that tells you something. So he definitely impressed the brass with that late. I don't want to call it a come from behind finish because it's not like he was down in all rounds leading up to that point. It was competitive. It was back and forth. It was probably a round apiece, but it was more like the home run in the bottom of the ninth, where it's like the walk-off home run that wins the game. That's what that head kick was.
Well, I was gonna say, are you going with the don't call it a comeback?
No, I'm not calling it a comeback. Definitely not. He could have won on the scorecards anyway, and I think he would have. He just put the icing on the cake.
Yeah. James Krause and Warley Alves, second round 228. Krause knee and punches, finished him off. Krause, I think he deserves better than the prelims in his next fight.
In fact, if you're asking me, I looked at the guy that I had previously ranked number 15 in the division, and his record wasn't as good as Krause because this is Krause's 5th straight win. So I swapped them. On my own personal UFC rankings that I submitted, I put James Krause as number 15.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, I can see that.
5 straight wins says to me that's a top 15 guy, especially with a finish like that.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think of a case or a situation where you don't make him top 15. If you don't, he is literally on the bubble, like number 16.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that's a tough, I've said it before, there's some tough divisions in UFC right now just to crack the top 15.
Right, and I know people are probably going to chastise me for this because I'm saying I knocked out Dong Yoon Kim when I say that, but again, look at their record over the last 5 fights and who has the better record? James Krause.
Yeah.
And look who's been more active over their last 5 fights because there was a period there where Dong Yoon Kim had like 1 fight a year for 3 years, and he hasn't even had a fight yet in 2018, so I'm looking at both activity of the fighter and performance of the fighter. And in both categories, I'm sorry to say this, but James Krause is the better man of the two right now. Now, would he win a fight between the two of them one-on-one? I don't know about that, but he's the more active fighter. He's currently the better fighter.
Well, let's move on to the next fight here. It's Yuri Alcantara against Corey Sandhagen.
That was a surprise. I did not see Corey Sandhagen going TKO on Yuri Alcantara. I did not call that. I did not see that.
This is we go back to the other fight I mentioned earlier. It's a case where I think Alcantara just got caught.
Well, you could
I don't think he got exposed on this one.
You could say that, and I would agree with you, but I'm also starting to question my own personal ranking of Alcantara because that's now 3 losses in his last 4 fights, and yes, he got caught in this one, but his record is starting to slip a little. I also think it's possible.
You think his next fight would be very telling?
I think so, because at this point he's had 47 professional fights, at least those that are known and recorded. As always, there may be more that we don't know about. Yeah. So when you've had over 40 fights, it's always possible that Father Time is going to catch up to you.
Well, yeah, the tread on the tire argument.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could totally see that. Sandhagen, I think another fight on the prelims against a decent opponent. See what he's made of.
Or
test him. Keep testing him.
I would be willing to consider putting him like the opening fight on an FS1 prelim before a pay-per-view.
You'd have to have a good opponent for that.
Right, but I'm saying with a performance like that against a very known quality opponent, or at least what I previously considered to be quality, I think you can give him a shot. I'm not saying he's the main event of the prelims, but the opening fight.
All right. Andrew Sanchez and Marcus Perez went to a decision. This round was pretty close. 2-1 on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards.
But all 3 judges agree, so I got no complaint.
Yeah. Mickey Gall beat George Sullivan in 1 minute and 9 seconds. That shocked me.
Yeah, that was the one where you texted me and you were like, whoa, I did not see that coming. And I said to you, hey, guess what? Mickey Gall isn't a one-trick pony who beat CM Punk. He's actually a good fighter.
Sullivan's a good notch on your belt if you're looking to make an impression. And Gall had time to make a call out. And a lot of fighters said, I don't care. Give me someone in the top 15. I'll fight whoever they put in front of me. Gall had a plan. He wants to fight against Sage, have a rematch against him, or have a fight against the legend Diego Sanchez. And I'm like, fight Sanchez. I don't want you fighting Sage. Fight someone like Sanchez on a big stage like New York City. Mm-hmm. That if you win that fight on that big of a platform.
But let's consider that's a smart call out by him, because this is not the Diego Sanchez of 2, 5, or even 10 years ago. This is Diego Sanchez with, as you just put it, tread off the tires.
But Diego is someone who, yes, he definitely lost some of that tread, but I mean, if you can beat someone like Diego, because you know Diego's going to bring that fight.
Oh, well, that's no question, but this is the kind of fight that people who are in a position to make a call out love to do, because it's a safe call out. I mean, if you lose, you lost to a legend, and there's no shame in that. But if you win, which you very well could do with somebody who's maybe just a tiny bit past their prime, I'm trying to be nice, but if you do beat them and they've got a big name like Diego Sanchez, that makes you a more well-known fighter for beating a legend. So it's almost a no-lose scenario. It's, as you like to say, Peter, he's playing with house money.